Hey everyone, it's your main man Chris Candid, and I am here for another episode here of what we are putting together, something special for you, so you can get your questions answered. I am a community lending officer here, loan officer, mortgage loan officer. Been doing it for over 14 years since 2006, and I wanted to just basically be a servant for you to be able to give you the opportunity to ask questions. And I wanted to focus on a few things as it pertains to purchasing a home, whether it's your first time purchasing a home or whether it is your next home or a new and improved home, or maybe you want to refinance and maybe you want to know a little bit more about commercial financing as well. Um, my disclaimer, this is my interpretation to what I believe lenders will qualify for. Of course, being a loan officer, I do know, but I've worked multiple places: Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, Ameris Bank, Wachovia. So I've been a loan officer. I've been a modification underwriter. So I can definitely give you an idea and the information that you need in order to be successful with you being able to purchase or refinance or get your first or next home. All right. So I want to make sure that that I give people the opportunity to get into um, to the live. So please share. Please let everyone know to log in here on Mondays as well as right now. They can log in right now. Stop what you're doing. Get on here. Also, like the pages, like the community lending officer page. It's a new page that I created. Also, the community lending officer Chris YouTube page as well. As you know, the algorithm is very important for us to be able to reach multiple people. And I'm here in the community of Jacksonville, Florida, where I was born and raised, living on the north side. So it's very important to me that I am reaching my community as well as other communities as well. So, with that being said, these are my thoughts, my ideas, and what I want to share. I do represent me and only myself at this particular time. Never mind where I work, even though some of you know where I work. So, bottom line is this is what I want to share today with you here. So, I want to talk community. Right now, community is very important to us right now. We've got a lot going on. There's a lot of information out there that says that we may not have some of the same rights and same abilities and things like that. When it pertains to purchasing a home, you have the ability to purchase a home. There's nothing stopping you, according to the color of your skin or anything like that, from purchasing a home. And the reason I say that and want to focus on that is because there are people that believe that they can't purchase a home because of their color of their skin. So it's important that I come out here and say, as a loan officer working for large lenders and things like that, that you can own a home. There's some responsibilities that you must take upon yourself in order for you to be successful, in order for you to get your home. So it's nothing against you. There's nothing stopping you. The only thing stopping you is yourself. So you need to get on your feet. Basically, make sure that you are doing the things that are necessary so that you can be successful and owning your own home. All right. So voting is key, and November's coming up, so we make sure we get, what I'm saying, we got the right to vote, so we get out here and vote. So we do what we got to do. So we make sure that we exercise our power, and we make sure we understand that that's very powerful. But owning a home, you have the ability to do that. There is laws in place that prevents things like redlining. It used to be like areas of town that you couldn't get a loan in, right? And also they used to actually prevent people of color from being able to purchase a home, but that has changed. So laws have been put in place to help everyone, right? So you can own a home. So first and foremost, I always talk about credit, because credit is really like an equal opportunity type situation. We all can have the excellent credit. We all can have excellent credit. You just have to make sure that you have the information as it pertains to getting the right credit. So credit is key. Your debt to income is key, right? And saving money is key. So if you have any questions, of course, you can chime in with the questions. If you have, feel free to just drop a question. Right now, I'll focus on saving money and how that pertains to getting a home. All right. Now, the numbers are ecstatic. The number of people whom are not able to save money, and the reason being is our society puts emphasis on spending money. Okay, society and the economy wants you to spend money. It's the reason why we got a stimulus package. The reason why they had essential workers, all that kind of stuff like that, because they wanted to keep the restaurants going. They wanted people to be able to continue to spend money, because as the economy goes and spending money, so goes the way of life. So to save money, it's almost like going against the grain. You get paid and you spend the money. You get paid and you spend the money. And everything is all right, because that's what society wants you to do. That's what the commercials say. When you look at a savings account, you're pretty much getting 0.00% interest on your money. Now, if they lend you money, you got to pay 4 or 5%. However, if you put money in the bank, you're getting less than 1%. So that's on purpose. On purpose, it is for us to not have money. So we are going against the grain when we save money. But guess what? When you're trying to purchase a home and you have saved money, you put yourself in a better position to be able to get that loan. So you have to have a focus on saving money, just like you have to have a focus on paying your bills on time and making sure that your credit is in the right position. So a little bit about saving money. I will just give the little nugget to the situation, which is separate your money. Okay, separate your money, meaning have multiple accounts. Have a checking account, have a couple of savings accounts, have a IRA, you have your mutual fund, or money market account. Separate your money. If we use one account, it's easy for us to continue to spend that money. All right. We have this math that we have in our head, which basically says, okay, I get $3,000. Okay, I know how much money I can spend before I'm in jeopardy of not having money. So if you get $3,000 and you got to pay a bill or two, you might have $1,000 left over, and you're basically going to the store, going to the store, going to the store until that $1,000 are gone. And that in itself is living paycheck to paycheck. So when we separate our money, then we have the opportunity to not be paycheck to paycheck, first of all, which is kind of a good and bad thing when you think about being qualified for a loan. If you don't have money in the bank, the lender will look at that as, okay, if something goes wrong, the person doesn't have the ability to make a payment. And that's what you don't want. You don't want the underwriter to think of it as, you're barely making it. Okay. So, and we're not talking about having to save a lot. Now, the key would be to continue to save money until you just have money that you forget about. That would be the key. But as it pertains to saving, to purchasing a home, the sweet spot is about 2 months reserve, which means you have in reserve 2 months of a mortgage payment. So if your mortgage is going to be $1,000, then guess what? You want to have about $2,000 in the bank after you close on your home. Now, so in order to do that, if you happen to pay closing costs, things like that, you may have to have $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 in that situation. Now, we have some down payment and closing cost programs out there. Now, they will look at, okay, well, we're going to give you a down payment, we're going to give you closing costs, but we still want to see that you have some money in the bank. So just because those programs are out there, let's not just rely on those programs only. It's almost like a 50-50 type situation. maybe you get some of the grants and some of the down payment assistance, but also you have some money saved up, which means you met the lender halfway in order to show that you have saved money. Now, I understand this is not glamorous right now. This is not something that you tune in to and hear anybody keep talking about saving money and continue to live in a particular financial way. This is not foolishness. This is not TikTok. This is not anything crazy. This is basic information that I'm trying to kind of reinforce. It's like positive reinforcement. It's kind of like if you hear it once, you hear it twice, you hear it three times, somewhere along the line, somebody might tune in and somebody might decide that they want to save some money. And they might have started from here, and I've done my job, which has got people to think differently. Now, I have been thinking about saving money for years, and I find a way to spend the money. Even inside, somebody else can tell you, even inside of saving money, I still find a way to spend some money. Oh, I know a few places to spend money. Amazon is my favorite right now because they deliver. I don't have to go nowhere. I don't have to go out in the COVID area. I can just come on and they deliver the package. You know what I'm saying? They ring the bell. I wait about 10 minutes, then I go out there and get my package. Okay. So so it is still, part of, our DNA and what we've been embedded. Because as you see commercials like spend some money quick, So it's hard to do. It's hard to do. And you need some positive reinforcement. You need to hear as much and as often someone saying save money. Someone saying here's how you save money. So, all right, let's go into it right quick. So naturally, you have to have discipline. You've got to have discipline. You got to be like, okay, I am not going to spend all of my money right after, I get paid. So I like to go forward a week. So like forward a week before payday. And if I'm going to do any spending, I try to make it that second week versus the actual payday. Now, a lot of people, they spend the money on payday, and then that second week is a tough week for them. And then they come around to getting paid again. So you're really going 2 weeks. So for me, I'm going like 1 week because okay, I can't really spend any money on payday. So you kind of suffer through having money and not doing anything with it. And then the next week, you're like, ooh, I can spend a few dollars. And then the next week, you're getting paid again. So it's like the temptation. It's like, ooh, I have money, but I don't want to spend it. Now, once you start saving a certain amount and you say, I have $5,000 in the bank or 10 grand in the bank or whatever, then it becomes the value of money is different. Okay, when you get $20,000 in the bank that you're not going to spend, it's not as valuable as you thought it was. It's like I've been wanting to have $20,000 all my life. I got 20,000 back. Oh, boom, okay. Then I go to 30. Then you go to 40. So then you won't have. You start making decisions like, if I go here and there, if I do this and that, I might have to go into the money I have saved. It becomes more important to save that money than it is for you to spend that money. And that's where you want your mind to switch over. Because at first, we're just spend money, spend. And then next thing you know, you convert over to, I don't want to spend that money. I have successfully saved. Okay. So you with me on that? All right. So again, for those jumping on here, 2 months reserves, when you think about trying to, show the underwriter, show the lender, show the mortgage company that you're responsible enough to have saved up money so that you can be qualified. Now, let's talk about the differences. Someone may have an 800 score, and they may need just the 2 months reserve. But someone may have a 600 score, but they need 4 months of reserve. You see? So sometimes the saving of the money can make you more of, a success rate at getting the loan, right? So it's not just as simple as what's my credit score. It's also what's my credit score and what are the trade lines? What are the things that are on my credit score? What are the items? What are the different type of credit cards that I have? Do I have any lates? Do I have any chargebacks? Is my balance too high on that credit card? So lenders and underwriters look at the whole picture. So it's like being under the microscope. For just a few minutes of your life, you're under a microscope, and the things that are on your bank statements, if you have a chart like even cash app charges, money coming in, money going out, bills that are not on your credit report, money cash deposited into your bank account. The underwriter looks at all of that. What the underwriter is trying to do is make sure that you can afford the home. That's it. It's nobody's against you. Nobody's out to deny you. Nobody is racially profiling you as it pertains to getting a mortgage. What it's all about is what are you presenting to that underwriter? Are you presenting no late payments in the last 12 months? No collections in the last 12 months? Balance is low currently when the credit is pulled. 2 months reserve in the bank, like money saved, right? If you have a lot of credit card debt, car loans, credit card debt, it becomes more of a flag. More of a flag if you think about it. Okay, you got 3 or 4 credit cards that are maxed out. Okay, your debt to income becomes higher because your debt to income is how much debt you have on your credit report. So what your monthly payment is your debt. Okay, and then you also are adding a new debt, which would be your mortgage. So the higher that number is, the more riskier you are. Okay, so what you want to do is present yourself as less risk. Okay, now I can say all banks, most banks are doing some sort of government loan, whether that's FHA, conventional, or VA. VA is for veterans, their veteran spouses. So you think about that. It's not just for the lender. If you go to Bank of America, you go to Wells Fargo, they're packaging that loan to FHA or conventional. So in that situation, it's a big brother and a big brother almighty, right? So look about it like that. So you got big brother, who would be the immediate bank or the person you're going to, right, to get the loan, and big brother almighty would be FHA or conventional, and they're the ones whom the bank is going to send the loan to, who essentially they're going to approve. So you're going to be approved really like twice. Now, for once the loan closes with, say, a Bank of America or Wells Fargo, that's good to go. So you don't have to worry about, I got to see if I get approved by FHA. No, we either have the authority or not to underwrite for these other government entities. So we're in good with FHA. We have the authority to underwrite and approve that loan, and unless there is errors made, that loan is going to be purchased by FHA or conventional. So you're going to be fine. It's not a situation where you're in the house and got the keys and they say, okay, I'm sorry, you were denied. Pack up and get on out of here. So you don't have to worry about that. So think about it like this. You are trying to get your first home. And where do you start? What's the first thing that you do? Do you start saving money? Do you start with your credit? Now, credit is something that should be ongoing from the day you get your first credit card, from the day that you first get your car, anything. That is from day one. It's going forward. It's every month that you're paying or either not paying. Now, if you have medical bills will mess up your credit. Seems like the sole purpose of them is to mess up your credit. Okay, they don't want the money unless it's like something huge. If it's $100,000, you're not gonna get that surgery until you come up with that $100,000. Now, if it's like, go to get a small procedure or an ambulance ride or whatever the case may be, you're gonna have to you can end up getting that ride and then having to pay that later on. So but those do affect your credit. So a lot of times people have great credit and they get a medical situation and they don't pay it. And what happens is that's a hit to your credit. That's a hit to your credit. So protect yourself against medical bills. All right. Protect yourself against medical bills. Secondly, before you get your credit pulled, pay your credit down. Pay down as much as possible on your credit cards. Now, if you have 5 max cards, like 5 of them, okay, what you don't want to be is maxed out on anything, right? Or definitely don't want to be over the limit. So you would pay everything to where it's no longer over the limit if you're over limit. That's the first thing. Then secondly, just pick the smallest one that you can put the most dent in, right? If you have a $400 $400 limit credit card, then by all means try to pay that off. Try to pay it off. Keep that at zero. If something's $1,000, try to get it down to 300. They say the sweet spot is 30% utilization, but it's even sweeter at 10% utilization, and even sweeter at 0% utilization. So the lower that balance is, the better. Okay. So why I say that is because a lot of times people they find out that they want to purchase a home, and next thing you know, they want to purchase that home. They talk to a realtor, they talk to a friend, and they say, go get pre-qualified. And right then and there, they call somebody to get their credit checked. You call me, and I talk with you, and I say, how's your credit? You say, it's pretty decent. It's all right. Well, I haven't checked in a while. I don't really know. We can't prejudge, so we go ahead and pull it. And like I say, it's like playing a slot machine. Pull that lever. And you got a 700, you got an 800, you got a 650, you got a 580. It depends. We want the numbers to be good, but you can do some pre-work. Preparation, being prepared is the best thing. And so know what's on your credit. If you have a credit, you got the free annual credit report.com. You got that one. You have Credit Karma, you got Experian, so you can find out what's on your credit. And you can actually pay off things, pay down your credit card, things like that. All right. So make sure you do that prior to having your credit pulled. Now, if you're paying off something as far as a credit card, you got to give it time for that to show up on your credit report. You can't just pay it one day and have your credit pulled the next day. Okay. You have to pull it. You have to pay it off, and then you have to make sure that it has been updated on your credit report. Got to be updated on your credit report. Usually, we say give it 30 days. But let me tell you something. There is a there is a statement date for each and everything on your credit report. There's a statement date. And the idea is to pay it before the statement date. So you're going to have a payment date and you have a statement date. Okay. So the statement date is when they create the statement. That statement date is typically when they report it on your credit report. Okay. So that statement date is what you really want to pay attention to. Now make sure that the payment date is usually 5 to 7 days before that statement date. So they're saying make a payment by XYZ date, and then you make that payment by that date. And then depending on that, how close that date is to your statement date, that's either going to reflect as paid or not. So you can actually make a payment right on the statement date, and it's being processed, and it may not show up until after the statement has been created. Another thing, if you have like these annual fees and things like that, a lot of times they give you the annual fee right on the same date as a statement, and that always have you carrying a balance on your, which is okay if it's like $9 or something like that. It's okay to have a $9 balance on your credit card, especially if you you used it and then you paid it off and paid it down to zero. But pay attention to the statement date, right? And verify any payments will reflect on your credit report, and then have your credit pull, right? So at least you're giving yourself the best opportunity for a great score. Okay, that's all. Give yourself the best opportunity for a great score. Pay your balance down and make sure that you are verifying that it has been updated. All right. So saving the money, 2 months reserve, that's a sweet spot. Paying our balances down, keeping our utilization low as it pertains to that. Now, I'll wrap it up once again because I believe everyone should know how to do this. So it doesn't matter how many times you see a video of mine. I want everyone to be able to know how to do or figure out their debt to income. So debt to income is your gross monthly income. If you receive a W-2, if you are self-employed, then it is your net income. Okay. So sometimes you can combine. You could be like me, you can have a day job and then also have, a business. And in that case, if you show income on your business, you're fine. But if you deduct or take a loss on your business, then it's going to subtract from your overall income. So if you made $60,000 and you had a business and you had a $10,000 loss, now you've made $50,000. Now to you, I made $60,000. I mean, you made $60,000, but to the lender or the underwriter, you took a $10,000 loss and you made $60,000. Then you really made $50,000. I'm talking about when you have a W-2 that says $60,000, and then you take a loss of $10,000 on your business. Now your income is $50,000. Now, if you are a self-employed person who made gross receipts, $80,000, say for example, but you wrote off $40,000, then your net income is the $40,000. So a lot of times people in self-employed, they feel like they do make a lot of money and they don't pay the taxes right away. So they have all their money to play with. So they never feel like they don't make any money. But when you see their tax returns, it says expenses of $40,000 out of the $80,000, net income $40,000, i.e. what you pay taxes on is $40,000. And then guess what? Then you made $40,000. So we're going to look at 2 years of income. Those of you who are hourly, like you get paid per hour and you get overtime, you got to work 2 years for us to count the overtime and the commission. So if you've worked somewhere for 2 years, then you take a look at what your last 2 years W-2 say and your year-to-date income. So you take your year-to-date income and add that with your last 2 years, and that becomes your gross monthly income. Once you have that number, that's when you divide that number by a percentage. Now, if you're looking at FHA loan, you're going to be able to use more of your income because FHA, you could possibly go up to 55%. Now, FHA has mortgage insurance, so it's more robust. So they allow you to go up to 55% debt to income. Whereas in conventional, this sweet spot is somewhere around 38 to 40, 43%, sometimes 45 if you have an excellent credit score. So again, you may want to talk to a lender just to make sure you're on it. But I just want to give you just kind of like an even number to look at, which will be 43%. Okay, 43% of your income kind of gives you an idea to be in a safe spot of figuring out how much you qualify for. So let's just say that you made $50,000. All right, so $50,000 a year. We're going to divide that by 12, and that equals 4,166 and 67 cents. All right. So we take that number and we just multiply that let's just use 43% times 43%, and that equals 1,791 and 67. So what I did was take my gross monthly income, and we're gonna get advanced and start showing the numbers on the screen in a minute, but we am doing it today. So we're taking if you made $50,000 and your monthly income was $4,166.67, we multiply that number by 43%. Now, whatever your actual income is what you multiply. You don't have to know what $50,000 is if you don't make $50,000. If you make 60, if you make 40, whatever you make, multiply that number, that monthly number by 43%, and whatever that number comes up to be, that is your maximum that your mortgage payment and bills can be. So I came up with $1,791.67. Now, if you have a car payment, credit cards, we're going to subtract those numbers from the 1,791. So let's just say you had a car payment, average is about $350. So we're going to take $350 out of there. We're down to $1,441.67. Then if we got some credit card payments and stuff like that, say that equals up to about $200. We're going to take $200 out of that, and we're going to stop there. Your insurance, your current rent, your cell phone, none of that counts towards your debt to income. Just what's on your credit report and what the potential new monthly payment would be. So if I'm at $1,241.67 remaining, then I got to understand how much home can I afford with that number. Okay, with that number is where you would take and figure out the purchase price or the loan amount, the interest rate, the term, and you would add in the tax and insurance and the mortgage. And there's plenty of calculators out there. Plenty. You don't have to actually talk with the loan officer to figure this out. You just go to Google mortgage calculator and make sure that it gives you an estimated tax and insurance and mortgage insurance, and it will tell you exactly what you're dealing with as it pertains to that. So right quick, I'll just do that. Like I say, I ain't going too long, but I'll give you that. Let me just Google it. And it'll give us an idea. My computer's moving slow, and I'm gonna use this other one. All right, so I'm gonna do mortgage calculator. And if I scroll down, it gives me a loan amount. So understand the rate is something that you can always just add a rate in here. But just for a nice safe number, we'll use 3.5. All right. And we'll do 30 years. Now I put in 240. And with 240, it gives me a payment of $1,078. So the question is that $1,078, is that can I stay within the 1,200 as it pertains to tax and insurance? Well, you may or may not stay within that 1,200. So your taxes may end up being $200 a year alone. So we know right there that, okay, I may not be able to qualify for 240 because that may be just too high. You want to have a little room for error. You don't want to always go for the max number because max number hurts your feeling. Max number hurts your feeling all day long. You pick a max number, you see the house you love, and the tax and insurance are too high, and now you can't afford that house. Feelings hurt. Head down. You don't want to be that. So we want to have a little wiggle room. So don't go for the max. Go for one with the wiggle room. So let's just say 240 was too high. We'll use 220. All right. So our monthly payment on 220 at 3.5 is $988. So I have some wiggle room there for taxes and insurance and mortgage insurance. Now, one would say, maybe I have enough, maybe I don't. So that's where you would continue to play around with that number and get a nice idea for how much that is. All right. So what we'll do is, continue to give you information about debt to income, your credit score, or improving your credit, or making sure your credit good, and saving money. The lenders just want to make sure that you are going to be able to make the payment. So what they're going to do is ensure that you have all the things that are necessary to be successful in paying your home, i.e. your job, i.e. your income, also money saved, and then your credit score. In a nutshell, that's it. That's it. It is living your dream is what you want to do. You want to think about what you want to do, and you want to put that to work. If saving money is important to you, then you think about saving money, and then you put that to work. If you want your credit to be excellent, then you think about excellent credit, and you do the things necessary to make your credit excellent. You have to have trade lines. A lot of times we do not have enough history. We only have one thing on our credit, or the only thing we have on our credit, it was negative things. So you got to have a couple of things. You don't have to have 10 different trade lines. But if you had 2 trade lines for 7 or 8 years, and the balances were low, and you never had a late payment, never had any collection, you would probably have an 800 score. So the thing is to whatever you get, be successful at whatever that is, at paying and keeping that balance low, and you're going to be successful. If you're talking to your kids, especially the high school kids, and we all have lived our life, for those of us who have kids, and we kind of want them to go ahead and make their own mistakes, because that's life. We made our mistake, let them make theirs, right? I challenge you on that, and there is where the change needs to happen. The philosophy needs to change in how we raise our adults. You got our kids, we help them when they're young. You help them when they're an adult too, or they're a young adult as well. And you guide them so that they be in the way that they need to be. And this is how you're going to change society, and how you're going to change our outlook, by helping our youth have great credit. Now, we won't have equality, but it starts with us. And we got to make sure that we give them an equal opportunity to be successful. We can't let them think it's okay to have bad credit. It's not, because it will hinder them in life. And there's a lot of jobs. If you happen to want to work a job, I know a lot of times we want to be self-employed, and there's nothing, and that's great. But if you want to get a good job, a lot of times we have to have good credit too. You have to have good credit as well. So we must protect them from, that first car that gets repossessed, that phone bill that ends up being a charge off, also that rent payment that ends up basically end up being a collection or something like that. Even if that means that you help them out. Hey, we have to save money so we can help our kids too. It's not only for you, sometimes it's for your youth. So that's my spin. Like I say, all this is just my opinions, and I hope I'm giving you some good information. If you have any questions at all, let me know. You can also go to the go to the YouTube page, which is Community Lending Officer Chris. Like the page, share the page, click the notification. Also, like the Facebook page, Community Lending Officer Chris, and share with as many people as possible. Like I say, this is not glamorous at all. This is information that could help any and everyone, but you have to hear it, and you have to be willing to absorb the information and take that information and use it to your benefit. We had a question? Oh yeah, and Instagram as well. I forgot about Instagram. Instagram, I'm trying to get there. You know what I mean? But Instagram everything is Community Lending Officer Chris. Community Lending Officer Chris. All right. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much. Check with me later. I'll see you next Monday. All right. Peace.